I am Lawrence Chuno, and this is Doing Jazz. Hello everyone, and welcome to Doing Jazz. My name is Lawrence Chuno, and this episode is with guitarist and composer Eddie Arjun. Eddie Arjun is an accomplished musician whose excellence has garnered recognition on several jazz publications. Eddie's latest album, Transition, is a cohesive body of work that showcases the confident musicianship of his trio and their solid sense of groove. The song playing in the background is the title track of the album. During my conversation with Eddie, you'll hear the songs Core, Ascent, and Gone. These songs are all from the album Transition by Eddie Arjun. After listening to this episode, you can learn more about Eddie by going to the website of the show, www.doingjazz.net. You can follow the show on Instagram and Twitter. The handle is @doingjazz. And you can listen to more episodes of Doing Jazz by subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, or any of the available podcast vendors. If you're on Spotify, please follow the Doing Jazz playlist, a one-stop playlist for songs by all the Doing Jazz guests so far. While on iTunes, please rate the show, leave a comment, and share the show with your loved ones. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am very excited to present my conversation with guitarist and composer Eddie Arjun. All right, Eddie Arjun.
Hey.
Welcome to Doing Jazz.
How you doing, Lawrence?
I'm good. Nice to finally have you on here. Have you been touring?
We haven't been touring a whole lot lately. We just released our new album, and we did a few shows to celebrate the release.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of just back at it, working on new material. I have a new band, and just been working with some new guys, and we're just entering into the next phase.
Okay.
And we have some things brewing for us, so we're just kind of waiting on some things to come through for us.
Okay. So let me get it straight. You have a new album that came out in February?
February, yes.
And you're already working on new material?
Yeah.
That's a grind.
Well, you know,
how to do it.
There's a lot of music that's coming to us,
mm-hmm.
and it's important for us to honor that. I don't like waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I like to keep it moving. This last album that we did was called Transition for a lot of different reasons, but the biggest reason was that it was a transitional point for us musically.
Okay.
And we're already into that next phase.
Nice.
In developing things. We did the last album rather quickly, which is the way I like to work.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't sure if it was going to be an album. We just went into the studio and said, okay, let's lay it all down. Let's lay down what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, it just became this living thing. Like, okay, the whole concept for it was it just started to materialize.
Nice.
And yeah, we decided we're gonna put it out. And yeah, I feel like I said before, I don't want to keep repeating myself, that it's a very transitional thing for us.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it really, in so many different ways. You hear it in the music and the production, in comparison to the last 3 albums that we did, which was a trilogy.
Yeah.
And just as long as you hear the growth in every album, you know, the trilogy that we did before this album started with an album called Space in 2012, and then following that was this album called Core, and then we completed the trilogy with the album called Gravity.
Yeah.
And you definitely hear the growth with each album. But this one was just, it summarized everything, but it really, in a very strong kind of way, just moved forward.
Yeah.
And that's exciting to me.
Yes, yeah.
That's like, whoa, okay, you just take this big leap, and it's, you know, that's why I don't like to spend a lot of time on an album. Like I know a lot of people, and I hear that they're in the studio for like 3 years, 5 years, and I'm like, I would lose my mind. My head would explode. Because you know, an album's average 10 songs.
Yeah, yeah. This one is 8, right?
Yes.
It's short and sweet. I like it.
Yes, yes. So, you know,
and it has a theme. It has like a strong, cohesive theme. You know, I wanted to talk about the musicians.
Oh, okay.
Because one of the things I noticed about the album, or one of the qualities I will ascribe to the album is there's this sense of there's this strong sense of groove that the album exhibits, and there's this I would call it confident musicianship that can only be achieved from being very cohesive, but like being very in tune with one another, being very attuned to how the band operates.
Sure.
So I want to talk about the musicians. Is it just a trio? The whole songs, all of the songs.
This is a trio: guitar, bass, and drums.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's tight.
Yeah. It's I'm a huge fan of the trio setting. I've always been. Going back to like listening to records by like Jimi Hendrix Experience or Cream. A lot of jazz fusion records in the 90s.
Yeah.
Just so much. There's just so much trio stuff that's always appealed to me, because there's just a lot of space to play with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely a chemistry that is on this last record that, like I said, the growth that took place from the trilogy, the last 3 records, that I'm super proud of.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting to know the songs, not just getting up there and playing them and playing a beat. That was something I've always had discussions with a lot of drummers that I played with. Like, yeah, don't just play a beat. You know, this is not like, you know, a gig that you're just, you know, picking up. This is something for you to really express and say something.
Yeah.
Like, I want people to leave the show saying, who the hell is that drummer? It's you know, the drums are at the forefront of everything. The drums and bass, really, even though it's guitar driven, as a lot of people would describe it. But you can just sit back and listen to just the bass and the drums, and you'll be taken on a crazy journey with this music.
Who is the drummer?
On this record, it's Mike Vetter.
Mike Vetter, okay. And then the bass player?
Andre Lyles.
Okay.
Yeah, Andre Lyles, he's played on this one. He played on the last 4 records total.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a monster bass player. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to talk about a few of the songs that you caught me listening to them. So cool. There are some of them that I've gravitated towards. The first one is Core. Yeah, I enjoyed the beginning, the whole song, and then the end. There's a theme of the drum roll theme. in the beginning, and then the song, and then the end also kind of has it. Do you want to talk about that song?
Yeah, that song. I was on my way to a rehearsal a few years ago, and it just kind of came to me as I was driving on the FDR to my rehearsal spot in Hell's Kitchen, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I don't really. The songs just kind of come to me.
Yeah.
I hear them. There's always like a continuous flow of melodies in my head, and whether I'm driving, which is one of the reasons why I drive around in New York City.
Yeah.
Because there's so much noise, and I mean noise in a very good, positive way. That's like even right now, you know, listening to the sounds outside your window. All of that stuff's inspiration. You know, I grew up in Queens, so I like to describe this music as all of the sounds that I heard while growing up in Queens. You know, whether it was the boom boxes or the trains going by or people talking.
Yeah. It's
instrumental music, but people speaking rhythms and stuff like that, and with attitude. And so, yeah, you know, I guess if I've never really had to like analyze and explain the structure.
How do you name your songs? It's called Core. Why did you call that one Core?
Naming songs is not easy for me.
Okay.
So I don't know. Well, you know, it was born out of the name. It was originally on this on one of the trilogy albums.
Yeah.
Core. The album titled Core.
Okay.
It's something that I guess I kind of meditate on it a little bit. You know, I'll listen to it. You know, I'll draft up some possible song titles in hopes that it'll become like it'll all add up and to a bigger concept.
The feeling. Okay.
Yeah. And then, you know, it just comes to me. And then you just have to decide and commit and like yes, because this song, the way that it starts out and the way that it ends, it's a very primal kind of feeling.
What do you mean by that?
The improvisation that happens in the beginning, you know, and
you mean that particular song?
Yeah, that particular song.
Yeah. Okay.
In trying to describe how why Core made sense to me as a song title.
Okay.
So, that I think there's a very primal thing at our core. Yeah. That's what I like to believe. So, that's the short of it, I guess.
Yeah, nicely said. Yeah.
Okay.
Another one that I listened to a few times because of your solo on that one. I mean, you had a magnificent solo in each of the songs, but this one,
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to use the word like because I like the album, but this one just caught my attention. Accent. The solo on Accent, I don't know what makes it different, but it's a little different for me. Just like,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That on a song like that, that one, you got to kind of dig deep a little.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to explain these songs, but I feel like that song means something. It's a slower paced song. And, I try to say something with each of my solos.
Yeah.
I try to, like, not just shed over it and wank away on my guitar.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a shredder. I mean, even though I like to, I have my moments where I've had people say that I'm a shredder. I don't really think I am. I'm more interested in making a statement.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to carry the torch for instrumental music. It's very important to me. I really love instrumental music, but I also love a lot of vocal music, and I think that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from, are like great singers, and that's how I use my instrument, as if I were a singer. I want to say something with it. But there's like peaks and valleys and a lot of emotions, and it's a journey.
Yeah.
Because some of these solos, they go through a lot of different parts and changes, and yeah, that's basically how I approach it.
Yeah.
But I don't really like try to like think too much about it. I just kind of throw myself in the moment and just react.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anything to be contrived. Because then, if I'm overthinking something, then I kind of like start to go a little crazy in my head, and then I have to just put it down and walk away. I just want to be in the moment and just be one with the music. That's
one thing I noticed about the solo is that it's melodic, but at the same time it's spontaneous. How do you achieve that? Like you say, you're not you don't consider yourself a shredder. I wouldn't say you're a shredder too, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because melodic solos are like the most communicative solo. They get to the soul. You know, how do you maintain that spirit of spontaneity while being very melodic? Do you see
yeah
do you
I mean,
understand what I'm
the spirit of spontaneity, I think that's just my spirit.
Okay.
The spontaneity thing. I love a lot of improvisational music. I like a lot of avant-garde stuff.
Okay.
I like a lot of noise music. There's a genre now called noise. So this music represents none of that.
I know.
It's very,
of course.
if you were to take it at face value, it's very structured to a lot of people would analyze it that way. But again, it's that primal beast thing. Like that's the thing that really speaks to me in all of music. It's that thing like that's coming from someplace real that appeals to me.
Yeah.
And that's why when I'm in the process of doing it, I try not to think about it too much. I try to just go to that place and be there. And it's not an easy place to get to, because it's hard. It's because it's like you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're bearing your soul, and you can become very self-conscious, and you hate yourself a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at yourself in that way. So it's like, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's a very gut-wrenching process, making an album for me. Because I don't want to just... It's very important to me that I say something real that's representative of me at that time, in that moment.
Yeah.
And if it's not going to get put out. There were many other songs that were recorded during the session that it didn't work. They just didn't work, and that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I respect that. It's the creative process. And it's something that I spend I've spent a lot of time thinking about. I continue to spend a lot of time thinking about, and I look towards the future. It's the evolution and the acceptance of who I am, and yeah, it's just a journey, and I hope that people hear that
awesome.
that I'm, it's that I'm expressing something it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a question I've asked about the other song, hoping to get maybe a different answer.
Sure.
Why is it called Accent? That particular
Ascent,
song.
yes.
Accent. Okay, Accent.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I didn't.
I used to call it that all the time too. Accent.
Okay.
It's I don't know why it's called that. Actually, I got help. I was working on the album concept, and a good friend of mine, his name is Joe Browse, one of my childhood friends, asked him for some, like, hey, hook me up with some song titles. And he gave me some song titles. I had a list. And as I was doing the meditation, whatever process on listening to the music and looking at the names, that one I saw it like jump out basically and latch itself onto the song, and I'm like, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the S. I just when I was looking at the song titles, I saw. I thought
I'm terrible. I do the same thing with.
I'm like, okay,
I do the same thing with
accent.
Song titles. Yeah.
Accent.
I never know song titles.
Yeah. But and instrumental music is difficult to remember the song titles because nobody's there re-echoing that word.
All of my favorite instrumental albums, I probably don't know the song titles to my favorite songs on those records. But there's just something that's sort of like floating.
Yes.
That it's. I just felt
it makes sense to me now that it's Ascent. It makes sense. So you don't even have to explain to me anymore. Because I like the songs. I have an interpretation for myself. And
yes.
I don't have to share it.
Good. Well, maybe you can share it with me another time. Because I'm always I'm more interested in what other people's interpretation are of songs, the music. I love when people come up to me after shows and they say, oh, I heard this and I heard that influence. I'm like, oh, that's so great, because I never went into it feeling like, oh, I want to try to emulate this sound or use this thing that this person did. But when people hear it, it's really special to me to hear that, because that means a lot, because it's just like, it's influenced by everything. You know, all music is influenced by something, unless it's like just a thing where somebody's trying to do a carbon copy of something else. Because then that's just like, that's another thing.
That's another thing. That's a cover band. All right, let's talk about this song, Gone.
Oh.
It's kind of slower, more slow tempo.
Gone. That's
does that come from somewhere? Does that song?
You know what? That song, I don't know if you know the artist Bill Frisell.
Yes.
Yeah, he's one of my all-time favorite artists, and he has an album called Gone, Just Like a Train.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that album, and it just kind of made me a little crazy. How just amazing that record was, the musicianship, the production, and I think there's probably something about that song that reminds me of that album, and I think that's how I came up with the word Gone, because the name of that album is called Gone Just Like a Train. I hope I didn't rip anything off of that album, but
who cares?
But it was probably that it made me think of that. And it was easy. It just worked. It was just that was immediate. That was instant.
Awesome. Yeah. How has your audience? How has the audience reception of these songs been? How has it been?
It's pretty mind blowing at how specific it is. How people really respond to it in a positive way. It's a lot of positive stuff, but people are saying very specific things about the music. Like they're really listening to it, and they're really just understanding and getting all the little nuances of the arrangements and stuff like that, and you know, they're getting that. It's a lot of people say it's like a breath of fresh air.
It is.
A lot of people say that because they're not used to hearing this a lot.
Yes.
It's not that I don't really perceive it to be this, hey, we're doing something new kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't really feel that way about this music. But I do feel, because everybody's off doing, you know, a lot of other things, that they're not doing this sound so much in the instrumental format.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear people say these things to me in different variations. It's really, you know,
humbling.
It's humbling, yeah, because it's not an easy road to take.
And at the same time, it's really, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that
it's who I
you
am.
should be proud of.
I'm very proud and humbled and flattered and, like, you know, I get emotional. Because, like I said, it's not an easy road to take doing this kind of music because, you know, it's hard. It's you know, we're in the minority as far, you know, other people are doing other things and a lot of vocal fronted bands and stuff like that. You know, and it's not easy to categorize us too. Yeah. You know, and that it gets weird when they start putting the jazz label on us, because we're definitely not jazz, but there are jazz elements. And then it's like, well, it's not really just rock, or even like what people call instrumental rock. So it's
jazz rock.
Rock
jazz.
People out there have, well, you know, in the age.
Oh, it's just good music.
That's what I try to. I try to say, hey, it's just music without words.
Yeah.
You know, in the age of excessive trolling. Yeah. You know, people are so quick to just say so many negative things, like, oh, or just not negative things, but come at it from a negative perspective, like, oh, well, it's not this or not. Like, it's just this. Is
this like online, on Twitter, or on YouTube, or where?
I've probably like on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, when I've seen people describe it as like jazz rock or just jazz. Yeah. Because, you know, like certain radio formats. Or radio stations that are jazz will play it. Yeah. And then, you know, people get weird sometimes. It's not jazz. You can't call it jazz, or.
But that means they listen.
Yeah. That's a good thing too. That's a very good point you make there. That's a very I never view it as anything negative. But yeah, that's true that they're listening. That's very, very important. Yeah. Because we're also in the age of where people's attention spans are very short. Yeah. Like, people don't listen. Like, the album is, for younger generations, not a thing. People don't care about albums. They care about songs and single releases. And that's, if I were to criticize anything that's happening today, that it would be that the album is dying. The album format. It's not that it's dying. It's that
still there. It's like, I feel like an album tells a story, you know.
Yes.
And I won't kill that format. I won't sacrifice that ability to tell a story with an album for how people behave towards music. In general, recorded music has been treated shabbily in the last 10 years. Who knows what's going to happen? Because even though we have this excessive availability of recorded music, of being able to just get it however and whenever, and being able to get it very inexpensively, I still think that the music industry, or the music community in general, is evolving, and it's going to get to a point where musicians are going to become valued again, and they're still going to become, like, they will see this thing will just sift itself out. It will become clear who is a musician, who is worthy to be listened to, and maybe there will be a different new format. I don't know what that format is going to be, or maybe we'll just go back to live music and be like, okay, well, you record your music, you put it out there, everybody understand now that you don't make money from recorded music. Let's see what you got live. Take for instance the vinyl is coming back.
Yeah,
so
it's gone up.
So
the stock has risen.
Exactly. So it's coming back. So who knows what's going to happen later on?
You're obviously optimistic and you're smart. It's true. It's true. And I agree with you. I agree that we're in a time where we're transitioning.
Yeah, we're transitioning. Exactly. That's the best word for it. Yeah.
I think that something really good is going to come of it.
Yeah.
Something new or refreshing, or it could just be like, hey, people are going back to vinyl.
That
could be the thing, or who knows? But it's happening. You know, like I go to shows, live music all the time, and I see like the bands that I see performing now are insanely talented.
Yeah,
and you hear the influences and. You can hear that it's coming from all the stuff that happened in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and it's growing and it's moving forward, and it's mind-blowing to me to hear like so much good music out there and so much great musicianship, and so I don't want to get on the bandwagon of talking about like, oh well, this is sucking and this is dying, and because it's not the case. There's so much that's happening,
and technology is necessary. We can never knock on technology. Just let it do what it does. Let it do what it does.
So much has happened in like the past just 10 years alone. Like, so much much advancement.
I know. Like if you a farmer in a third world country has as much information on their phone as the president of America would have in 1970 or,
so true.
or even in 1980. Think about it.
It changes everything. Like the whole playing field, how we function, how we respond, how we calculate everything. It's just total complete game changer, and it's just a major adjustment that people that have been around to see it happen have to make, basically.
You are listening to Doing Jazz with Lorens Chuno. The guest on this episode is guitarist and composer Eddie Arjun. His album Transition is available for purchase and streaming. If you're on Spotify or iTunes, please follow the Doing Jazz playlist, a one-stop playlist for songs by all the Doing Jazz guests so far. Let's talk about you.
Okay.
You're from Queens?
Yes, from Queens, New York.
So you're a New Yorker, like
total New Yorker.
Total New Yorker.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of people tell me you don't really sound like a New Yorker. I have my moments.
Yeah, I see.
But whatever,
let's talk about it. Yeah. Why do you think they say that? Why do you think they?
I think there are stereotypes that for New Yorkers.
Okay.
And,
I see. So, you were born in Queens. Were you born into a musical family?
I was born in Canada, actually.
Oh, in Canada. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Believe it or not. But I came to Queens when I was 1.
Okay.
Basically. And I've been here ever since.
Yeah.
And,
where in Canada? Toronto.
Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of family out in Toronto.
Okay. Do you still go there?
I do.
You still visit them? Okay.
Yeah. Not enough lately, but yeah, I get over there. I love Canada. Canada's beautiful.
Yes.
Toronto's beautiful. I went to Montreal for the first time not too long ago.
Okay.
But I grew up in Queens, Astoria, Jamaica. I went to Jamaica High School. Rosedale, Queens. That's kind of where I came into being. My teenage years, music years, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what was your question again about?
I just want to know more. I just want us to know a little bit more. Me and the audience to know a little bit more about
Queens.
You. Yeah.
I think I'm so happy to have grown up there because it's the most colorful place you can think of with so many different types of people.
Yeah.
So many different attitudes, cultures. To just be fully immersed in that 24/7.
Yeah.
From the get-go, from as earliest as I can remember. I feel I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of people come from areas where they belong to one group.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that are like that, or come from that at least. So it's interesting to just see how they think or react in certain situations. Where, as for me, nothing really phases me when it comes to like cultures or ethnic groups or races or whatever. It's just, I take it at face value.
Yes.
So I take people at face value. That's so important to me.
Did your parents, that was the question I asked.
Yes.
Did your parents play music?
My father.
Okay.
My father is a singer, a very talented singer.
Awesome.
My parents are from Guyana.
Okay.
Which is in South America. And so my father, he basically sang his butt off. A great singer, like amazing singer, ever since I was a kid, ever since I was a baby. So it was always around. I remember one time waking up when I was like 2 years old in Astoria. My father I must have fell asleep for the rehearsal that he had in the apartment that was kind of like this, maybe a little bit bigger in Astoria. But I remember waking up and coming out and seeing just a whole complete band setup. I guess the band that he was rehearsing with crashed at the house. But I just remember just walking around the whole apartment and picking up every instrument and messing around with it. So that sort of thing was just always there in my life from the get-go. And my parents, thank God for them, they were super supportive.
Okay. When did you start playing the guitar?
At 13.
13, okay.
Yeah, 12, 13.
Nice. And you fell in love with it?
Yeah. Well, I think I wanted to... my father bought me a drum set.
Okay.
Like a kid drum set when I was 5.
Okay.
But I didn't really get any formal training or anything like that. And then, I was in Queens. I was in Jamaica, Queens at that time, and it was just a lot of meandering and hanging out in the streets. Yeah. I basically spent my childhood in the streets. So
That's a good song title, by the way, Meandering.
yeah, hey,
So I'm giving you one.
cool. That could be one. That could totally be one. It probably will, and I'll definitely give you credit for that.
No, you said it.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't until I got to Rosedale, Queens, that I met my good friend Walter Wally Wissenbeck. And he took me to his house. It was like from school. We left school. I went over to his house and he told me that he has a guitar. And I went over to his house and he plugged his guitar into an amp and it sounded like an electric guitar. Like the sound to me, it just blew my mind. I'm like, I didn't know you can do this. I didn't know that you can plug your guitar and have that sound in your bedroom. And that same day I went home and I just told my dad, you got to get me a guitar. I need a guitar. And he took me probably the next day to buy me a guitar and an amp. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's how supportive he was.
Yeah, that's good. Did you go to school for music?
I did. Unfortunately, I didn't finish.
For music.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I studied. I went to Nassau for a little bit.
Okay.
And left because it was classical.
What's Nassau? Nassau is
Nassau Community College.
Okay. Okay.
Out in is it Mineola?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great program that they have there.
Yeah.
But it was a weird time for me to go to school for a classical curriculum.
Okay.
Because I was just discovering jazz in a big kind of way at that time. So it was clashing with where I was mentally. I have a lot of regrets for not finishing, but it's basically, it led me down the path of incorporating more jazz stuff into my playing.
Nice. But so you did you ever go back to school for any other thing?
No.
Okay.
I want to. I still want to.
Why do you want to? I mean, you make beautiful music now without having the paper, you know. You got what you needed. You know?
Yeah, I know. I battle that all the time. The only reason why I haven't done it is because I've just been so busy.
Okay.
And I can't make the time. But I just want to be in that environment. I want to be with those people, and I want to be fully immersed in it.
I see. Yeah.
I want to just study.
Yeah.
And just study and meet people, play with people, but you know, it's hard. You know, I think it's the Gemini. I'm a Gemini, so like I always want to be doing too many things at once.
So you have a daytime job. That's one of the things we talked about. I mean, you don't have to tell us what it is. You don't have to tell us what it is, but you still do it. You know.
Yeah, a lot of us musicians, even a lot of successful ones that I know, they have a day job.
Okay.
Because
but your day job, one thing that distinguishes you from other musicians, and one thing I share in common with you, is that your day job is not related to music. No, it's something else. And yeah. So, and it funds your music, you know, in a way.
Sure.
And let me talk about my experience a little bit, even though we're talking about you. Let me see if you relate to this.
Sure.
To this. I feel like having a day job where you have to kind of live another life, basically, it allows you the freedom to just do something else and then return to music and approach it from a perspective of a non-artist, you know, and then gives you the freedom to say to yourself, okay, why do I have to restrict myself to this expectation of artists? Why can't I just do my music from this free and very independent way that I'm seeing this music? Why do I have to restrict myself to a particular format? Why do I have to do this academic music that if I had kept studying and always stayed with artists, this is the kind of music I'll be doing? Why can't I just do my own kind of music that's being inspired by this other life that I live? You know, I don't know if you relate to that.
Yeah, I think I relate to a little bit of everything, really, when it boils down to it. Yeah, I think you know, I mean, you have people that are trained.
Mm-hmm.
You have like people like, say, I don't know, let's Herbie Hancock, for instance, you know, or you know, like a Chris Potter, or like these guys have achieved so much academically, musically, and they took that, or Keith Jarrett or whatever, and what they've taken with that, and you know, they were able to take that education and channel it into who they are as artists. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. To the point where they actually have a voice. And then you have like, you know, your Stevie Wonders or or Prince. You know, people that don't come from an academic background, but they have something just as powerful to offer. That's or as distinctive as those guys. I think it's the different colors. There's no right or wrong way to do it. And if you're gonna do something one way, and you can analyze it and put it in perspective, which sounds something like what you're doing, I think that's important. I think it's important to put it in perspective, because we all come from different places. You know, like you have different genres of music. You have, like, say, jazz, and then you have rock, and then you have hip hop. You know, those people are coming from different places. Each one of those different people. So, yeah, being able to shut things down for a little bit, to go back to in function in normal society. Because I think that's definitely an approach to making music. It's an option. That's, you know, and like I said, you put it in perspective, sure. It's good to take time away from it.
But how are you able to tour? Because your job is in the city, and your job is 9 to 5.
Right? I have some flexibility there.
Okay.
I'm fortunate.
Can you be gone for 2 weeks, for instance?
I can probably, I can do 2 weeks.
Okay.
But
that would be just 2 weeks in a year.
I definitely, you know, I'm careful with how I use my time. And I basically do that so that way, if something comes up and I got to be gone for an extended period of time, that I have the time and I'm ready to go.
Nice. All right. We are going to conclude with a little game. I should have explained the game to you. I end up explaining it right inside the podcast, and I always mess the explanation up each time I do it. And I'm about to do it this time. Okay. This game is called Turn Up, Mute, right? I'm going to give you 2 options. You're going to turn one up, and you're going to mute the other, right? So you turn up the one you like, and you mute the other one. But there's a caveat. The caveat is that whatever you turn up, it doesn't mean that that's what you're going to turn up for the rest of your life. You could live here and decide to turn the other one up. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Okay. So 2 options. Turn one up, mute the other. Prince, Carlos Santana.
Oh, man, that's tough, man.
Yeah, so that's how tough the game is.
That's really hard. Well, I mean, man, that's really tough. Should I explain, or should I just? No,
you pick one and then you explain what. Remember, the one you pick, if you pick Prince, it doesn't mean you prefer Prince to Carlos Santana. It just means that for now you're feeling Prince, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm giving you an out.
Well, I will have to turn up Prince and mute Carlos Santana.
All right.
I hate to do that.
Okay, that's fine. Give it a reason.
Yeah. Well, because, you know, there's so much stuff that I'm waiting for that gets released by the Prince estate.
Okay. That's a good reason.
Yeah. It's, you know,
a specific reason.
I actually, you know, they should, if they're listening to this, anyone from the Prince estate, they should talk to me, because I can actually advise them.
Wow.
Especially on, like, some of his greatest eras, which is 87, 86, 87. I'm waiting. He recorded like 3 or 4 albums in that period.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's like some of the best music I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
From like 85, 86, 87 that he recorded. Like the album Sign of the Times. I don't know if you're familiar with that album.
Yeah.
Sign of the Times was originally going to be called Crystal Ball, which was going to be a 3-record set of all new material.
Yeah.
But the record company, Warner Brothers, didn't want to release it. So they trimmed it down to a 2-album set, Sign of the Times.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just that music that what he dialed in during that period is just, to me, it's amazing. It's an original sound.
Yeah.
It's funky. It's funk rock.
Yeah.
It's got almost everything, a mix of everything in it, and the musicianship is brilliant.
Yep.
And so yeah, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for that stuff. I'm waiting. There's so much footage. I own a lot of the bootlegs.
Okay.
Like there's so many live shows that he did during that period, after shows.
Yeah.
That I own a lot of bootlegs for, that he supposedly recorded, and it might be sitting in the vault.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be nice to hear those things in decent quality.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So that's why I turn them
You
on.
have like a very specific answer. That's good. Yeah. All right. Another one. This might be the easiest. Queens. Bronx.
That's
Queens. Bronx. Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Well, if you would have said anywhere else but the Bronx,
Yeah.
I would have.
All right. I'm gonna make it a little harder. Queens and Toronto.
I would mute Queens and
Turn Up Toronto.
Turn Up Toronto.
Wow.
Because I spent my whole life in Queens.
Okay.
And I walk with Queens.
Okay.
I'm Queens. I
You're
represent
Queens.
Queens. I represent Queens every day. Toronto, I was born there, but
Yeah.
I left, shortly after.
Yeah.
And I've only been there a handful of times.
Okay. So you want to
I would love to explore,
more. Okay.
more and learn about.
Yeah.
Every time I go out there, I have a great time. I love meeting people out
Yeah.
there. I have, I'm curious about the music scene out there. I don't really know about it too well. Like I said, Queens is always with me every day. It's easy.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. The last one. Be careful. Long Ass, Lava Dust. Those are your 2 songs.
Well, the 2 songs, I would mute Long Ass and turn up Lava
Dust. Okay.
Yeah, because
I actually really like Long Ass.
I like Long Ass too.
Yeah.
Long Ass it's been around for a long time.
Okay.
And yeah, that's actually really hard. I didn't mean to come off like that one is easy. That one is actually really hard. But there's a section in Lava Lust where it gets free form. Mm-hmm. And
hold on. I mispronounced all your songs.
No, you got it right.
I called it Lava Dust. Like what? I didn't hear it. I just glazed through the title and I just pronounce it with whatever is in my
I
head.
think you gave me 2 different song titles today.
Yeah.
You gave me Meandering and Lava Dust.
Yeah.
We might use that.
Lava Lust. Okay.
Yeah, there's a section in that song that's freeform, and it gets spacey.
In Lava Lust.
Yeah. And I feel like that's always evolving. Whereas Long Ass is kind of... It's like I said, it's been around for a longer time than Lava Lust. So I'm still exploring Lava Lust.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that one was, I guess, kind of easy.
Very good. Eddie Arjun, thank you for coming on Doing Jazz.
Thanks so much.
I hope we can do this again.
We should do this
because
again.
you seem to release albums at a higher frequency than other musicians.
Oh, cool!
This
Thank
is your 5th one.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I'm waiting for the next
I'm all
one
about.
that
Me too.
You've already started working on. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Great. We did it.